What if the source of King Solomon's legendary wisdom came at a terrifying price? The forbidden rituals he used to command demons are far more dangerous than history suggests. These rituals might reveal a path to immense power, but are you willing to pay the ultimate cost? Today, we delve into the shadowy legends surrounding King Solomon, a figure revered for his unparalleled wisdom and divine favor, yet whispered about in occult circles for his alleged mastery over demonic forces. More than just a biblical narrative, this is a tale of ambition, forbidden knowledge, and the perilous dance between power and corruption. A story where the lines between the sacred and the profane become chillingly blurred. Prepare to journey beyond the familiar image of the wise king and confront the unsettling possibility that his kingdom was built not only on divine blessings, but also on a foundation of infernal pacts. You'll discover the terrifying details of the rituals attributed to Solomon in ancient grimoires, such as the Lesser Key of Solomon, and how these forbidden practices were said to grant him dominion over legions of demons. We'll uncover the true translations and interpretations of these texts, revealing a darker purpose behind the rituals and the potential psychological impact they could have on those who dare to perform them. Stay until the end to learn the shocking truth about the ultimate source of power in these rituals and the deadly trap awaiting those who seek to control forces beyond their comprehension. This video will examine the forbidden rituals associated with King Solomon's alleged demon binding, analyzing their historical context, potential psychological effects, and the ethical implications of seeking power through such means. Understanding the true nature of these rituals, their psychological impact, and their ethical implications can provide crucial insights into the dangers of seeking forbidden knowledge and the corrupting influence of unchecked power. This exploration will encompass ancient grimoires, the complex dynamics of demon-binding rituals, and the profound ethical questions raised by such practices, all viewed through a historical, psychological, and moral lens. Now you might be thinking that this is just another fanciful tale from dusty old books, but similar rituals have been found across different cultures, hinting at a common methodology of accessing the human psyche or something far more sinister. The consequences for dabbling in demonology often include obsession, madness, or a complete mental breakdown. But is this the result of summoning an actual demon or of something far more internal? We must consider that perhaps Solomon gained power legitimately, or if he sought it through dangerous means at the expense of his soul. Let's begin by delving into the historical figure of King Solomon and the legends that surround his name. This brings us to the heart of the matter, the specific rituals King Solomon allegedly employed to command demons. The legends paint a picture of a king not only blessed with divine wisdom, but also possessing the forbidden knowledge to bend infernal entities to his will. We must now uncover the details of these rituals, exploring their purpose, components, and the entities they were designed to control, as well as the price Solomon may have paid for wielding such power. What dark secrets do these rituals reveal about Solomon's reign, and what do they tell us about the enduring allure and potential danger of forbidden knowledge? Historically, the rituals associated with Solomon's demon binding are detailed in various grimoires, most notably the Lesser Key of Solomon, also known as the Lemegeton Clavicula Salomonis Regis. Over the centuries, this text has served as a primary source for ceremonial magic practitioners seeking to invoke and control spirits. Scholars believe that the Lemegeton is not the work of Solomon himself, but rather a compilation of texts from various periods, ranging from the mid-15th century to the 17th century. The origins of these rituals can be traced back to a diverse array of sources, including Jewish Kabbalah, Christian demonology, and Arabic magic, reflecting a fascinating synthesis of different esoteric traditions. This historical context is crucial for understanding the evolution of demonological practices and the enduring fascination with Solomon as a master of both divine and infernal forces. The Lemegeton provides a glimpse into a world where the boundaries between the sacred and the profane are constantly challenged, and where the pursuit of knowledge can lead down a dangerous path. The core concept of demon binding, as practiced in Solomonic magic, involves the ritualistic invocation and subjugation of demonic entities for the purpose of gaining knowledge, power, or assistance. The process typically requires elaborate preparations, including the creation of magical circles and triangles for protection and containment, the use of specific incantations and prayers to summon the demon, and the wielding of ritual tools such as swords, wands, and seals to assert control. In essence, the practitioner seeks to establish a hierarchical relationship with the demon, commanding it to perform specific tasks or reveal hidden information. The Ars Goetia, the first book of the Lemegeton, details the rituals for summoning and binding 72 different demons, each with its own unique powers, attributes, and sigils. For example, the ritual for summoning the demon Payman requires the practitioner to wear a magical crown, chant specific invocations, and offer sacrifices of incense and wine. The demon is then compelled to answer questions and provide assistance, but only within the constraints imposed by the ritual. It's important to distinguish this from simply communicating with spirits. Demon binding is about asserting dominance and control. For example, let's examine the ritual for summoning and binding the demon Baal, as described in the Ars Goetia. According to the text, Baal is a powerful king ruling over the East, capable of bestowing invisibility, wisdom, and the favor of rulers. The ritual begins with the creation of a protective circle inscribed with divine names and symbols to shield the practitioner from harm. The practitioner must then prepare a triangle of art, placed outside the circle, to contain the demon once it is summoned. The incantation involves a series of Hebrew and Latin phrases invoking the names of God and demanding Baal's appearance. The text emphasizes the importance of maintaining a firm and commanding tone, as any sign of fear or weakness could allow the demon to gain control. Once Baal appears, the practitioner presents their demands, which could range from seeking knowledge of hidden treasures to influencing the decisions of powerful individuals. The ritual concludes with a license to depart, allowing the demon to return to its own realm, but only after swearing an oath to fulfill its promises. This entire process must be followed carefully to ensure that the proper outcome is achieved, and more importantly, the practitioner remains in control. The significance of this elaborate ritual lies in its symbolic representation of power, control, and the pursuit of forbidden knowledge. The protective circle symbolizes the practitioner's will and ability to create a boundary between themselves and the demonic realm. The incantations and prayers represent the assertion of divine authority over the infernal forces. The ritual tools, such as the sword and the wand, symbolize the power to command and control the demon. The demand for knowledge or assistance reflects the practitioner's desire to transcend the limitations of human understanding and achieve a higher level of awareness. However, one possible interpretation is that the power does not come from the demon itself, but rather from the practitioner's subconscious mind, using the ritual as a means to tap into hidden reserves of energy and potential. However, this is not the whole story. While the Ars Goetia presents these rituals as a means of gaining control over demons, a closer examination of the text reveals a darker, more unsettling possibility. What if the true purpose of these rituals is not to command demons, but to establish a symbiotic relationship, one where the practitioner becomes increasingly dependent on the demon's power, gradually losing their own autonomy and free will? We must ask, is Solomon truly in control, or is he merely a conduit for a darker force? It's important to note that skepticism surrounds the reality of demons and the efficacy of these rituals. Some scholars argue that demons are not external entities, but rather projections of the subconscious mind, representing repressed desires, fears, and anxieties. A different interpretation suggests that the rituals are symbolic representations of inner conflicts, and that the act of binding a demon is simply a way of confronting and integrating these shadow aspects of the self. Psychological perspectives offer alternative theories that might explain these rituals. Nevertheless, the enduring fascination with Solomon's demon-binding rituals speaks to a deeper human desire for power, knowledge, and control over the unknown. Whether demons are real or not, the pursuit of forbidden knowledge carries inherent risks, both psychological and ethical. The complex and ambiguous nature of these rituals serves as a cautionary tale, reminding us that the quest for power can lead down a dark and dangerous path. Could it be that the true demons we face are not external entities, but rather the shadows within ourselves? In the next section, we'll examine the potential consequences of engaging in these forbidden practices and whether Solomon truly maintained control over the forces he summoned. But what happens when the power dynamic shifts, when the conjurer becomes the conjured? What specific consequences await those who pursue demon binding, particularly when the intended control is subverted and the hunter becomes the hunted? The annals of occult history are filled with whispered warnings of practitioners becoming enslaved by the very entities they sought to command, revealing the inherent risks and the potential for a devastating loss of personal autonomy. Are these merely cautionary tales, or do they offer a glimpse into a hidden reality where the pursuit of power can lead to one's own undoing? Consider the cautionary tale of Johann Georg Faust, a historical figure whose insatiable thirst for knowledge and power inspired the famous legend of Faust. While the historical Faust was an alchemist, astrologer, and diviner, the legend transformed him into a figure who made a pact with the demon Mephistopheles, trading his soul for earthly pleasures and forbidden knowledge. The story of Faust, popularized by Christopher Marlowe and later immortalized by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, serves as a stark warning about the dangers of unchecked ambition and the seductive allure of demonic pacts. Faust's initial enthusiasm for his newfound powers eventually gives way to despair and regret as he realizes the true cost of his bargain. Similar stories echo across cultures, from the sorcerers of ancient Mesopotamia who lost their sanity to the Celtic druids consumed by their own magic, suggesting that the path to infernal power is fraught with peril, and that the line between master and servant can easily become blurred. These historical counterexamples establish a foundation for understanding the very real dangers inherent in demon binding. This brings us to the core concept of reversed control in demon binding, a phenomenon where the practitioner inadvertently becomes a vessel for the demon's will or influence. This can occur when the practitioner's ego is weakened through rigorous rituals, sleep deprivation, or the use of mind-altering substances, making them more susceptible to demonic influence. The Lesser Key of Solomon itself, while providing detailed instructions for controlling demons, also hints at the potential for the tables to turn. But what if the true translation of a key passage, long obscured, reveals a darker truth? Consider this. A popular passage often interpreted as commanding a demon to obey might, in fact, more accurately be translated as surrendering to the demon's will, becoming a mere puppet in its infernal games. This subtle but crucial difference exposes the inherent danger of demon binding, transforming it from a quest for power into a potential act of self-annihilation. But what evidence exists to support this notion of reversed control? The annals of occultism are filled with anecdotal accounts of practitioners who allegedly engaged in demon-binding rituals and suffered dire consequences. Some reported experiencing psychological breakdowns characterized by hallucinations, paranoia, and a profound sense of disconnection from reality. Others claim to be haunted by the very entities they sought to control, experiencing night terrors, sleep paralysis, and a persistent feeling of being watched. Still others exhibited signs of possession, displaying sudden changes in personality, speaking in strange tongues, or engaging in violent and erratic behavior. While such accounts are difficult to verify, the recurring patterns in these reported experiences, the sleep paralysis, the night terrors, the sudden changes in personality, suggest that something profound and disturbing may be at play. Imagine waking in the dead of night, unable to move, a crushing weight on your chest, as a shadowy figure looms over you, whispering your deepest fears. Are these merely the products of an overactive imagination, or are they glimpses into a darker reality where the boundaries between the self and the other begin to dissolve? Analyzing the psychological impact of reversed control, we can see how it connects to themes of ego dissolution, subconscious manipulation, and the potential for self-deception. From a Jungian perspective, the demons conjured in these rituals may be interpreted as archetypal forces within the practitioner's own psyche, representing repressed emotions, unresolved traumas, or the shadow aspects of the personality. The act of binding a demon, therefore, could be seen as an attempt to confront and integrate these shadow aspects. But if the practitioner is not careful, they may become overwhelmed by these forces, leading to a disintegration of the ego and a loss of self-control. But what if the power doesn't actually come from external demons at all? What if the true source of power lies within the practitioner's subconscious mind, which is then manipulated by the ritual's symbolism? The ritual, in this view, becomes a form of self-induced hypnosis, a guided meditation that unlocks hidden potentials within the psyche, but at the risk of unleashing forces that the practitioner is not prepared to handle. Is it possible that the real danger lies not in summoning external entities, but in manipulating one's own subconscious mind, potentially leading to a loss of self-identity and moral compass? This leads us to a critical juncture in our exploration. While we've explored the potential dangers of demon binding and the phenomenon of reversed control, we must also consider alternative interpretations of these experiences. Could it be that the demons conjured in these rituals are not literal entities, but rather metaphors for internal struggles, psychological complexes, or repressed emotions? What if these rituals are, in essence, a form of shadow work, a way of confronting and integrating the darker aspects of the self? As we delve deeper into the psychological aspects of demon binding, we must ask, is it possible that these forbidden practices hold the potential for self-discovery and psychological integration, or are they simply a path to madness and self-destruction? However, it's important to acknowledge that not everyone subscribes to the psychological interpretation of demonic phenomena. Many traditional believers maintain that demons are real, external entities with their own distinct consciousness and agenda. They would argue that the psychological distress experienced by alleged demon binders is not simply the result of subconscious manipulation, but rather the direct consequence of engaging with malevolent forces beyond human comprehension. The debate between these two perspectives, the psychological and the traditional, highlights the complexities of human consciousness and the enduring power of belief. It also emphasizes the power of suggestion, where one's belief in demons can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Despite these counterarguments, it's crucial to recognize the profound impact that demon-binding rituals can have on the human psyche, regardless of the literal reality of demons. Whether these entities are external or internal, the act of engaging with them can be a powerful catalyst for self-exploration or self-destruction, depending on the practitioner's intentions and psychological state. And let's not forget the ethical considerations inherent in manipulating the subconscious mind, even if it's not through interaction with external entities. As we continue our exploration, it's clear that the real danger lies in misunderstanding the power of one's own mind and the potential for self-deception, coupled with the seductive allure of forbidden knowledge. Now, having explored the potential pitfalls and reversals inherent in these rituals, we must turn our attention to the question of whether Solomon himself was truly in control of the demons he commanded, or if he, too, fell victim to their insidious influence, a possibility that will expose the deep secret of this practice. As we've witnessed, the pursuit of forbidden knowledge can lead down perilous paths, and the binding of demons, in particular, holds an irresistible yet terrifying allure. How do these specific Solomonic rituals act as a gateway to such forbidden power, and what makes them so compelling despite their potential risks, despite the warnings whispered through the ages? Is it the promise of Solomon's legendary wisdom and authority, a shortcut to power that bypasses years of arduous study and spiritual discipline? Or is it something far more sinister, a glimpse into a reality that should remain hidden? To understand the enduring appeal and inherent danger of these Solomonic rituals, we must trace their historical development, linking them to earlier magical traditions and cultural beliefs. The incantations, symbols, and procedures found in the Lesser Key of Solomon did not spring forth from thin air. Many scholars believe they are the culmination of centuries of magical practice, drawing from diverse sources such as ancient Egyptian and Mesopotamian spellcasting, Jewish Kabbalah, and Greco-Roman Hermeticism. Consider, for example, the use of circles, triangles, and sigils, which appear not only in Solomonic magic, but also in earlier Mesopotamian rituals designed to ward off evil spirits. Similarly, the concept of invoking divine names to command supernatural entities can be traced back to ancient Egyptian magic, where the names of the gods were believed to hold immense power. Understanding these ritual parallels provides a crucial insight into the origins and influences of Solomonic magic, setting the stage for a deeper exploration of their mechanics and symbolism. This leads us to the core mechanics and symbolism of a chosen Solomonic ritual, specifically the evocation of Payman, one of the most powerful and enigmatic demons described in the Lesser Key of Solomon. According to the Grimoire, Payman is a king ruling over a vast host of spirits, possessing knowledge of all arts and sciences, and capable of revealing hidden secrets. The ritual for summoning Payman involves several key steps. First, the creation of a magical circle to protect the practitioner from the demon's influence. Second, the recitation of specific incantations to call upon Payman's presence. And third, the offering of gifts or sacrifices to appease the demon and gain his favor. But what if the most crucial incantation, the one intended to bind Payman to the practitioner's will, has been misinterpreted for centuries? What if the true translation reveals a darker purpose, a subtle shift in power that could leave the practitioner bound to the demon rather than the other way around? Imagine the horror of believing you are in control, only to realize that you are merely a puppet dancing to an infernal tune. But what specific evidence exists to support this alternate interpretation of the Payman ritual, to suggest that control is not what it seems? Let's examine the key components. The Lesser Key of Solomon provides transcriptions and translations of key incantations, written in a mixture of Hebrew, Latin, and other ancient languages. The linguistic structure of these incantations is complex, often employing archaic grammar and obscure vocabulary. Consider this excerpt: Agios, Otheos, Iskiros, Athanatos, Parakletos. While traditionally translated as Holy art thou, God, mighty and immortal, comforter, a closer examination reveals a potential double meaning. The word Parakletos can also be interpreted as one who is called upon, implying that the practitioner is not commanding Payman, but rather entreating him, begging for his assistance. Furthermore, the ritual requires specific gestures and postures, such as raising the hands towards the sky or prostrating oneself before the demon's sigil. These actions, while seemingly symbolic, could also be interpreted as acts of submission, further weakening the practitioner's will and making them more susceptible to Payman's influence. Also, consider the tools required for the ritual. The magic circle, intended to protect the practitioner, also serves as a focal point for their concentration, potentially amplifying their own subconscious fears and desires, making them vulnerable to manipulation. The triangle of art, where Payman is said to manifest, could be seen not as a prison, but as a gateway through which the demon can access the practitioner's mind. Analyzing the psychological and symbolic significance of these ritual components, we can begin to understand their potential effects on the practitioner's mind and consciousness. The magic circle, for example, can be interpreted not only as a protective barrier, but also as a symbolic representation of the practitioner's ego, their sense of self. By stepping inside the circle, the practitioner is essentially defining the boundaries of their own identity, creating a space where they can confront the forces of the unknown. But what if the circle also serves to isolate the practitioner, cutting them off from external support and amplifying their internal doubts and fears? Similarly, the incantations can be seen as a form of self-hypnosis or guided meditation, designed to alter the practitioner's state of consciousness and access hidden knowledge. But what if these incantations also serve to weaken the ego, making the practitioner more susceptible to suggestion and manipulation? Could it be that the effectiveness of the ritual depends less on the literal existence of demons and more on the practitioner's belief, intention, and psychological state? And what if the ritual triggers repressed emotions, unresolved traumas, or shadow aspects of the personality, unleashing forces that the practitioner is not prepared to handle? The magic circle, the tools, and the incantations may thus create a feedback loop of fear, anticipation, and submission. But here's what most people miss: the element that makes all the difference. The demon isn't controlled by the ritual, but by the practitioner's mind, and the ritual only provides a framework for self-suggestion. This leads us to a discussion of the ethical implications of performing these rituals. If the binding of demons is not simply a matter of commanding external entities, but rather a form of self-exploration or psychological transformation, what are the potential consequences of tampering with one's own mind and consciousness? What responsibility does the practitioner have to themselves and to others if they unleash forces that they cannot control? And what if the pursuit of forbidden knowledge leads to unintended consequences, such as psychological breakdown, spiritual corruption, or even demonic backlash, even if the rituals are viewed as purely symbolic? Could these rituals, passed down through generations, have been designed not to control demons, but to facilitate a dangerous form of self-exploration, a journey into the darkest recesses of the human psyche, from which there may be no return? So, we must ask ourselves, is the pursuit of forbidden knowledge worth the risk, even if the knowledge is ultimately about oneself? However, it is important to acknowledge the traditional belief in external demons and the literal efficacy of these rituals. Many practitioners throughout history have approached Solomonic magic with the firm conviction that they are dealing with real, intelligent entities that exist independently of the human mind. From this perspective, the psychological distress experienced by alleged demon binders is not simply the result of subconscious manipulation, but rather the direct consequence of engaging with malevolent forces beyond human comprehension. Yet, even within this traditional framework, there is room for nuance and complexity. Some argue that the demons themselves are not inherently evil, but rather forces of nature that can be harnessed for either good or ill, depending on the practitioner's intentions. Others maintain that the key to successful demon binding lies in establishing a relationship of mutual respect and understanding, rather than attempting to dominate or control the entity. Despite these counterarguments, it's clear that Solomonic rituals represent a powerful system of symbolic psychology that can be used for self-exploration or self-destruction, depending on the practitioner's intentions and understanding. And while the literal reality of demons may be a matter of faith or personal belief, the ethical considerations inherent in manipulating one's own mind and consciousness cannot be ignored. The real danger, as we've seen, lies in misunderstanding the power of one's own mind and the potential for self-deception. Therefore, it is crucial to approach these rituals with caution, respect, and a strong sense of ethical responsibility. Now that we've explored the core mechanics, the alternate interpretations, and the ethical considerations, we must now turn to the question of whether Solomon himself truly wielded control over the demons he commanded, or if his power came from an entirely different and unexpected source, a secret that has been carefully guarded for centuries and will soon be revealed. Now that we've questioned the very nature of control in Solomonic rituals, it's time to address a fundamental question. What specific advantages did practitioners throughout history believe they could gain from these dangerous encounters? What drove them to risk their sanity, their souls, for the promise of such power? Was it the allure of unparalleled wisdom, the ability to command earthly events, or the tantalizing prospect of accessing forbidden knowledge, secrets hidden from the eyes of mortal men? To truly grasp the motivations behind demon binding, we must explore the historical accounts and legends that fueled these beliefs, separating verifiable achievements from the embellished tales that have grown around them over centuries. Take, for instance, the figure of Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa, a Renaissance polymath whose intellectual prowess was undeniable. Agrippa mastered a vast range of subjects, from medicine and law to theology and philosophy. Yet, whispers persisted that his knowledge was not solely the result of diligent study, but rather the result of demonic assistance. It was said that Agrippa possessed a familiar spirit, a demonic entity that whispered secrets in his ear, granting him insights beyond human comprehension. Whether true or not, the rumors themselves speak volumes about the perceived benefits of demon binding, the belief that supernatural aid could accelerate one's intellectual ascent. But what was the price Agrippa paid for his supposed demonic knowledge? Did his relentless pursuit of forbidden secrets led to his own downfall, a descent into madness and despair, or were these simply the fabrications of envious rivals seeking to discredit his accomplishments? And did he truly bind his familiar, or was he bound to it? This brings us to the core question: what specific types of benefits did practitioners of Solomonic magic hope to obtain? These can be broadly categorized as material wealth, esoteric knowledge, influence over others, and personal power. The evocation of certain demons was believed to grant access to hidden treasures, lost fortunes guarded by ancient spirits. Other demons were said to unlock secret knowledge, revealing the mysteries of the universe, the workings of nature, and the hidden patterns of reality. Still others promised influence over the thoughts and actions of others, the ability to sway kings, manipulate markets, and control the destinies of nations. But what if the true translation of the grimoire passages detailing these powers reveals a darker, more insidious reality? What if the intended outcome is not what it seems, and the acquisition of these powers comes at a cost far greater than anticipated? Consider, for example, the specific powers attributed to various demons in grimoires such as the Ars Goetia and Grimorium Verum. Paimon, as we have discussed, was believed to bestow knowledge of all arts and sciences, granting the practitioner unparalleled intellectual mastery. Dantalion, another powerful demon, could reveal the thoughts and secrets of others, making the practitioner an omniscient observer of human affairs. Ammon, a Marquis of Hell, could reconcile friends and foes, manipulating emotions and resolving conflicts at will. Andras, on the other hand, has the power to sow discord and command others, a power coveted by those in positions of authority. But were these powers unique to Solomonic magic? Parallels can be drawn to other cultures throughout history, cultures that have sought assistance from otherworldly entities. Ancient shamans, for example, sought assistance from animal spirits and could even command them to do their bidding. Does this suggest an underlying truth regarding such practices? Analyzing the psychological and symbolic significance of these perceived benefits, we can begin to understand their potential impact on the practitioner's self-perception, relationships, and sense of purpose. The desire for wealth, for example, can be interpreted as a manifestation of insecurity, a need for external validation to compensate for inner feelings of inadequacy. The pursuit of knowledge, on the other hand, may represent a quest for meaning and understanding, a desperate attempt to find order in a chaotic world. And the quest for influence over others may stem from a deep-seated desire for control, a need to dominate and manipulate in order to feel safe and secure. Could it be that the source of power in these rituals lies not in the demons themselves, but rather in the practitioner's own belief, their ability to tap into their subconscious potential, to manifest their deepest desires through the symbolic language of magic? What if the demons are merely a vehicle, a convenient fiction that allows the practitioner to access hidden reserves of strength and willpower? However, this begs the question: could these perceived benefits become addictive, corrupting the practitioner, leading to a distorted sense of self, a loss of empathy for others, or a descent into madness? What happens when the pursuit of power becomes an end in itself, when the practitioner loses sight of their original goals and becomes consumed by the insatiable hunger for more? And what price must be paid for demonic power, the potential for demonic backlash, psychological breakdown, or spiritual corruption? Are the perceived benefits worth the cost? Can true power ever be gained through external means, or does it ultimately come from within? And if the power comes from within, what are the ethical implications of unleashing such forces without a clear understanding of their potential consequences? It is important to acknowledge that many of these perceived benefits are subjective, perhaps even illusory. Yet there is a counterargument to be made, that they can be empowering, even transformative, acting as catalysts for self-discovery or psychological integration. Demon-binding rituals can be viewed as a form of shadow work, allowing the practitioner to confront and integrate their repressed emotions and shadow aspects of the personality, the dark side of their own being. Carl Jung, the renowned psychiatrist, emphasized the importance of integrating the shadow self, recognizing that it contains not only negative traits, but also untapped potential for creativity, intuition, and emotional depth. Could it be that demon-binding rituals, stripped of their literal interpretations, represent a symbolic journey into the depths of the unconscious, a quest to confront and integrate the hidden aspects of the self? What happens when facing one's shadow side? Despite these counterarguments, we must re-emphasize the core point of our exploration. Regardless of the literal reality of demons, demon-binding rituals represent a powerful system of symbolic psychology that can be used for self-exploration, self-destruction, or self-empowerment, depending on the practitioner's intentions, understanding, and ethical compass. The ethical considerations of seeking power remain paramount, even if that power is derived from one's own subconscious or used for seemingly benevolent purposes. The real danger, as we've seen, lies in misunderstanding the nature of power and the potential for self-deception, ethical lapses, and unintended consequences. With so much risk involved, could it be that Solomon himself knew more about the dangers of demon binding than we previously believed? And what secrets might he have encoded within his grimoires, warnings hidden in plain sight, designed to protect those who dare to tread this perilous path? And what secrets might he have encoded within his grimoires, warnings hidden in plain sight, designed to protect those who dare to tread this perilous path? As we draw to a close on our exploration of King Solomon's demon-binding rituals, it's time to reflect on the journey we've undertaken, a journey through the shadowy realms of forbidden knowledge and the seductive allure of power. We've delved into the legends surrounding King Solomon, the intricate rituals detailed in ancient grimoires, and the potential psychological implications of engaging with such potent practices. Our exploration has touched upon the core themes that resonate throughout the history of demon binding: the allure of knowledge deemed off-limits, the corrupting influence of unchecked power, and the ambiguous nature of the demonic, as both external entity and internal projection. We have examined the grimoires not merely as spell books, but as maps of the human psyche, reflecting our deepest desires, fears, and ambitions. But the story of Solomon and his demons extends far beyond ancient rituals and esoteric texts. It speaks to the timeless human struggle between ambition and morality, the seductive temptation to take shortcuts to success, even at a potentially devastating personal cost. What does the enduring fascination with demon binding reveal about our own fears, our desires, and the lengths we are willing to go to in order to achieve our goals? Consider the implications. If the power to command demons truly exists, does it reside within external entities, or is it a reflection of our own subconscious, amplified and projected onto the world? Was Solomon's power derived from divine wisdom, a pact with demonic forces, or a combination of both, inextricably intertwined with his own ambition and inner demons? Perhaps the answer lies not in the literal existence of demons, but in understanding the depths of human psychology, the seductive nature of forbidden knowledge, and the intoxicating allure of power. Consider the power of belief and intention in shaping our reality, and the responsibility that comes with wielding such power, whether it's derived from external sources or our own subconscious mind. The true demons we face often reside within ourselves. If you've enjoyed this exploration of Solomon's demon-binding rituals and are ready to delve deeper into the hidden mysteries of the occult, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Join our growing community of seekers as we continue to uncover forbidden knowledge and challenge conventional understandings of reality. Stay tuned for future content exploring the history of other forbidden rituals, the psychological aspects of demonolatry, and the secret societies that have guarded these dangerous secrets for centuries. Until our next descent into the mysteries of the occult.